Okay, not sure what happened to the music there, but welcome back to another Squadline Battle with me, Garthnix. We've got a good one today. We've got Fucksec back again against PBS Neil, or J Neil this time, my mistake, and or Janeel. And we're on HURTGEN Forest today, Server 2 again, Squadline Battle. We'll jump straight into it. Thanks again to anyone who followed last time. So Fucksec, I see that he actually followed. Jesus Christ, who's this? Moita Beer, Norddeutsche Junge, Don D Legend Sniper, TRD1N, Schmitz Katze, hey, Well Bill, awesome. So yeah, thanks to everyone who followed. If I didn't get to you, then I will try at the end. But we're going to jump in straight away now with No Connection, who's streaming the ally side, and we're going to have a bit of a chat about the map, hopefully. I think he's already on the server. Let's go find him. Yeah, he's messaging me now saying ready. Yeah, I'll jump in with him now. So welcome. Sorry, it's a bit of a rush today, but life is what it is. Let's get in it. Hello. Hello, No Connection.
Hello.
Hi.
I can't quite hear you. Give me 1 second.
Is it my mic quiet?
For me it is, but let me just turn you up. I'm hoping everyone will be able to hear you.
Okay. I think my people should be able to hear you at least. So if the viewers can't hear, they can always come to my stream and then catch the whole thing there. So yeah. How you doing?
Bugs about going around lately, and it's annoying. But we'll see after the game.
How you been?
I'm ready. I'm excited.
Totally ready. Excellent.
Ready for Squadline Battle. To be honest, mine's a little bit drifted towards the seasonal now that it's like fully up and ready to go. Yeah,
I feel your pain there.
Yeah, but I can't give it away to Werner Voss and the team over here at Squadline Battle. They're still giving it out, and we're looking like another good game tonight.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. We've got Fucksec back again, obviously. Was playing last week as allies at Samurai Glees, and won against House Gangsters. So that was a big win for him. I see, obviously, that's attracted the attention of What the Hell. He's one of your guys now.
He is. Great.
So great little addition there to What the Hell. I spoke to him after the game, and he seems really keen to get better at the game, so that's great. I'm not so familiar with Janeel or J Neil, but I believe that he's obviously going to give it his best shot. It's nice to see a PBS player as a commander, which is it's really good to see, to be honest, because they've kind of only really been coming to Squadline Battle, I don't know, like a couple months really. So it's nice to see that they've kind of put somebody forward, or somebody's volunteered to be commander on server 2. So I'm looking forward to see what he's got. Obviously we're on HURTGEN Forest today. It's one that we've covered quite a lot seemingly recently, you and I.
Yes, and it's a great map as well. I think it's one of the favorite because it gives you a bit of everything. Tank, RT.
Yeah, let's just switch over to it now.
Nice defense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so like straight up, which team do you favour, Allies or Axis, on this map?
I'm gonna say Allies purely because of their second point. So that the Wayback Overlook, the Cow Trail, the Ruin, purely because it's so close to the border and the next point. So if you think between the two squares, they can get a garrison a lot closer to the actual objective on the 3 point than the Axis.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think maybe the same, although in some ways the Axis probably have like if they get the Scar or even North Pass to some extent, but especially with the Scar, like it's probably easier to defend for them because the Allies have to cross the river.
Yeah.
But in some ways that can work the other way on the other points like Caltrow and Wayback Overlook, because the Axis have to cross the river then. But the Scar obviously has that good overlook, and if they can kind of cover the crossing points, although there are tons, in this version of the map. Like there's actually a lot of crossing points, ones that I didn't even know about, where you can like dive underwater for a few seconds and come back up. I think I saw somebody drive a truck across there at one point. So like as long as they can keep those covered, I think it does kind of favour them if they get the Scar, possibly North Pass. Less so on Siegfried Line, obviously, but even then, probably, although Siegfried Line is very, very open to artillery and sort of bombardment, and if you can get around the back of it, like on the wide flank kind of thing, then it can be opened up quite easily because it's got the woods behind it.
So yeah, like speaking of Scar, I've put up a little icons. I think Siegfried is the best for both sides to attack.
Yeah.
I might be a bit wrong there to say that. Purely because I think the Allies will be able to get up under that hill, just over that little bridge, quicker than the Axis can stop them at the beginning. So if they can get there quick enough and put some like OPs down and stuff like that, I think they're up for a real good battle, and it will take them a long time to fight it down.
Yeah, true. And tank battles as well, like at Siegfried, there's some good positions for the Axis to get their Tigers up kind of earlier and get the domination over the hill there. But once the 76s come out, you know, they need to kind of back off and let their infantry probably try and take them out because it's very, very dominant, the position from the Allies' perspective, like tank-wise. They've got really good sight lines and some crazy sight lines as well. I mean, we saw What the Hell playing in a friendly a few weeks ago, and some of the positions that tanks were in that game were unbelievable. And not just What the Hell either. I think, was it STDB they were playing? Yes. And, you know, they had some spots around Wayback Overlook in the woods there. And honestly, like I was like hovering above the tanks and trying to like get, you know, to follow them to see what their sight line was. And they're honestly looking between like 1,500 trees. They've just got like the exact tunnel right the way through to get like a perfect sight line on Siegfried Line, where those Tigers come over the hill and that road on, I'm not sure what the square is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like right, that very bottom road kind of thing. If you're looking at the map, like they had amazing sight lines there, so it's very like tank orientated map in a way, but like less so than something like what we saw the other day with San Meriglis or whatever, where, you know, you get these like you get tanks pushing up a lot more. This is kind of like tank Overwatch, and like the battles between the tanks are always pretty heated.
I also think that if, you know, in any, you know, whether it's Allies or Axis, and if they're on that 5th point for the enemy team, so for instance, if it's approach or lumberyard or the other approach and logging camp, if you're on that point and you're about to go for it and you've got your attacking squads, you have to get your maybe recon teams into that middle point and stop them spawning out of there and trying to outflank you. WTH against SDB, they did it for a long time, and they were putting a lot of pressure on SDB. They almost came back, you know, but it took them a lot of the game.
Yeah, and you know, at the end they did get the 5-0. What the hell won with the 5-0? But I think partly that was because STDB thought, well, it's the last like 5 or 10 minutes, we're going to try really, really hard to take Cal Trail, and so they committed so many of the people who had been defending so excellently at Mouseback, and that kind of opened up the door a little bit to What the Hell. But What the Hell, all the credit where credit's due. I mean, they dominated the Scar. Like they didn't cap it first, if I'm not mistaken, but there was a hard fought thing over the Scar, but then once they took it and they pushed up to Cal Trail, they took Cal Trail very quickly, like you say, with the flanks and like completely surrounding it, and then they held it really, really well and used that forested area by Wayback Overlook to put a lot of pressure on Mouseback approach, and then they placed basically garrisons like right up in the top left corner of the map, and one on the kind of the right hand side as we're looking at the map of Mouseback as well. So that'll be the east of Mouseback, and they just literally like alternated, basically like one attack one way, so the defenders had to like push through and clear it all out, and then they would spawn people behind them and push through the other way and so on, and it was absolutely brutal. I mean, all credit to SCDB for defending for that long, because it was relentless. But I think, yeah, it's one of those maps where like there are certain points where you can really get like in a difficult situation, and some of them I think as well, like they lend themselves a bit to the steamroll. So like Salient 42 into Logging Camp, where Logging Camp is like so close to the edge. Like if the Allies take Salient 42, they've got a really, really easy advance into Logging Camp, and it's a long way from the Axis HQ spawn to run in there, and it's very open behind Logging Camp as well, so there's like a little hill up to the north of it, and if the Allies can set up some people there, they can basically dominate that spawn and just allow their guys to freely push in along the bottom of the map, which is like a sort of a valley in the trees, and very, very hard to defend. But equally, the other way, I think Reserve Station and Lumberyard, they can also be very difficult to take because there's forest almost right up to them. And then it's like this big long trench kind of that you have to defend the whole trench, and that can be very, very challenging.
So, what sort of middle point are you? One, are you wanting to see as a streamer of the overview, and then
Mm.
one as what do you think is the best for the squads themselves to attack and or trying to get hold of?
For me, I think it's between Scar and North Pass. I think Scar is probably the most interesting because it's such a tiny hard cap that it really means that people need to get their squads, like whichever team is trying to take it or trying to defend it, they have to get people into that black circle.
Yeah.
But with the black circle being so tiny, that is the most obvious target for artillery and for bombing runs, etc. And so it makes it really, really, really difficult to keep people in there for very long. So it can be very kind of like to and fro. I think North Pass is a good one though because it's very strategic. Like if the Axis can get over basically to Veyback Overlook, if they can cross the river and get to Veyback, there is kind of a forest just to the west of North Pass up the hill there, and effectively whoever controls that forest controls North Pass. But equally, if the Allies control that and they can keep the Axis at bay across the river on the road, using their tanks and whatever to kind of pin them down between North Pass and Hill 15, then I think and to isolate that kind of forest just to the like on the east side of the river, but to the south of North Pass, there's like a big forest on the hill with that trench network, and if they can kind of control that and push through that area, then they can definitely take North Pass and hold it quite well, and certainly long enough to get a garrison up to the sort of north east of Hill 15. There's like a valley, there's like a stream that crosses the road, and there's like a bridge under there, and if you can get your airhead or like a garrison or something built in there, like right in the corner, it's very, very, very hard to defend against. And especially then if you've got flanking teams as well coming into Hill 15 from the south, because it's just isolated out there by itself on the hill. It's seems like a natural fortress and an easy place to defend, but actually it's also not that easy because of the way the hill kind of falls off. It's sort of a bit of cover for the team, whoever's approaching it up the hill. They're only visible when they're within about 100 yards of the point, and at that point, if you are surrounded, it can be really hard to defend against. And your tank, obviously, if you've got a tank there, is really isolated and by itself and obvious, so it can be destroyed relatively easily.
It will be. And speaking of tanks going down, we are about
it looks like
live.
We're about to go live. Brilliant.
So have a great game. And
yeah, you too. Catch you after the game. Have a good one.
Right.
Brilliant.
Here we go.
Okay, so no connection there, as always, doing a good job there. Let me jump into the game. I'll just spawn in, create myself a squad, and then we'll get up in the sky. Let me lock the unit so we don't get people joining and trying to, expecting me to tell them what to do, because that's not going to happen. Okay, so looking at the map then, we've got Siegfried Line, so in a way the least preferred point, although still very, very interesting. We've got Salient 42 and Logging Camp. Let me just get up in the sky, and then I will take the overlay off, and here we go. So you can see, obviously let me know in the chat. It is 15 minutes delayed. If there's a problem, it might take a little while to sort out, but please do let me know in the chat if you encounter any issues with like the sound or anything like that. So as you can see, we've got Salient 42, Logging Camp, Siegfried Line. And I mentioned before, Salient 42 and Logging Camp are probably the worst set up in a way for the Axis, so they really need to take and hold Siegfried Line and push through to the ruin. But the ruin, not at all an easy point for the Allies to defend at all. It's got its own sort of ways of attacking it, I suppose. It's quite out by itself. There's that forest behind it in this area, and if you can kind of get people like spawns up and around here, then you can definitely get an advance into the rear of it. But then it's kind of got its this weird like surrounding area. We'll go and have a little look in a minute. But it's not that easy to protect, really. So let's have a little look just at the. Obviously, you can see them kind of setting up now. We're still in the warm-up phase, so they're just up against the invisible wall here on eye line. But if we can, let me just check the sound of the stream real quick. Hold on. Yep, seems to be working. So if we can just look at their move markers, they are looking to get around Siegfried Line, which is important because, like we mentioned, holding off the advance through this river, and particularly when it comes to Siegfried, holding off the advance through these trenches that I'll go and have a little look at in a minute, is vitally important. Okay, so we're getting to the end of the warm-up now. Let's go and have a look at the points. So Siegfried Line over here, as you can see, this is the area through here, so this is the scar down on Love move marker here, and the Allies are going to be trying to cross. Oh, is that right? Allies are going to try and cross the river and probably move up through these trench networks here. You can see this trench out the back has sort of like a natural path into this woodland area here. If they can get up and set up something over in this area, which is where I'm looking at here, sort of underneath us in these trenches, that is still, obviously, once this is capped one way or the other, if the Allies can get garrisons here, then that'll be powerful for them. But equally, there's a nice trench network back here for the Axis to build garries, and then they've got like a nice easy path actually into the rear of Siegfried. This area down here underneath us with this house is certainly a place where we're probably likely to see tanks setting up, but like Known Connection said, the Allies have tried straight away to get their people across the river and get something set up down there. They're actually here at the point first. As we can see, it's closer to them than it is to the Axis, and now we've got Axis arriving in the transport truck, not in time to Marsmick and the transport truck almost getting taken out by artillery, it looks like there. Not quite able to get there as quickly as Joker and his squad down here, the core lads, but they do have probably pretty good cover into the forest. However, it's obviously under artillery bombardment at the moment. I'm not sure if that is the Allied bombardment. I presume so. If it's the Axis, they want to push it out a little bit, clearly. But looking at the markers here, you can see that Golf Squad is looking to push right through. So I think that's Marsmick here for STDB. Let's have a little look on the map down here. Okay, can't see Golf Squad at the moment. Not sure, someone's probably screaming at the screen, but this OP for Easy Squad is already hot underneath us. I think Joker goes down there. That's a big kill from PHX CD there. I can't see the garrisons, obviously, from the other team. If you want to catch that, make sure to go and check Known Connection stream as well. Just have them both open at the same time. But probably, I would expect the Axis... Oh, what an artillery shot. I would expect the Axis to be setting up there. Oh, my gosh. Okay, the point is clear of Allies there. Oh, my... This artillery is, yeah, pretty OP here. Okay, and we've got tanks in the game already there. I see a shell coming in. That's a fantastic clearance of the point there from the artillery, and obviously that's the problem here. The Allies do have this advance up the hill. It is predictable where they're going to be coming in. Joker's OP is here, as we saw before. They spawned in on it and got absolutely... Well, that's their remains there, isn't it? And again, almost got destroyed. The OP doesn't go down to the artillery, so it's still safe, but they are struggling a little bit. Marsmick, though, the only Axis squad leader in the point, but we can see, actually, the Axis are concentrating a lot of their forces over into that area that I discussed before. Only problem with that is it's actually allowed Allies right the way up to these buildings, and we'll probably be seeing... some kind of flanking maneuver from there. I see Ares here with supplies, most likely going to be trying to build a garrison. As you can see, these buildings very much in this sector, so once the Allies cap it, which is looking quite likely because they have got more people actually in the 4 squares, obviously the hard cap is important and the Axis are doing their best to try and you know, get in there and hold that, but they're certainly outnumbered here, and certainly within the sector they're outnumbered. Although we do have this DC squad actually coming in from the flank, which could be pretty devastating to the Allies' attack here. But at the moment, okay, at the moment, I take it all back. The Axis are actually capping it back, as you can see at the top there, with 1 hour 22 remaining. Hopefully you should be able to see on the screen right now a little indicator on the top left to show like which team's what. So the Allies are in red, obviously, Axis in blue, but they are taking it back now, the Axis, and moving in through these trenches and actually harnessing the power of these trenches themselves to try and cut off this attack here. Joker's OP is down. I guess CD maybe took it out over here, which is fantastic work, because now Joker's all the way back here. That's one of their most kind of prolific squads in attack. The Allies has been forced right the way back to the garrison. Nasty artillery coming in here from the Allies. Having a little look, we've got the recon plane that I can hear coming over at the moment, so they're going to be trying to highlight this. I don't know whether we'll see more artillery markers change at that point. I see a lot of enemy infantry markers coming down all over this area, and doing a good job here. It's back to neutral, basically. The Axis, I see, have a vehicle down here. Looks like their transport truck. Not sure who's in that. Just Ninja Pulver. Shout out to him. Look forward to seeing some of his streams in the seasonal. Make sure you come check out the spring seasonal games as well. I mean, it's absolutely huge tournament. I'm sure we'll talk about it at the end when we get the commanders in to talk after the game, but absolutely huge tournament coming up. Really, really exciting. 24 teams. It's going on for like 2 months, 12 weeks or something. Absolutely crazy. It's going to be so many games, like 80 games or something. It's literally the pinnacle at the moment of Hell Let Loose competitive. Very, very excited about that. Ninja Pulver is probably going to be one of the casters for that, alongside myself and No Connection, which is brilliant. So go check him out, drop him a follow as well whilst you're on Twitch right now, so you can see when he comes online. Okay, yeah, brilliant. So the Axis now actually have done exactly that. It's gone perfectly to plan, and they've kind of pushed through into this area. Very impressive stuff here. As we can see, Fuxek not with any kills at the moment, but I should think probably doing all he can to place down, you know, the blueprint here for the Axis to hold this area. Cobra in an interesting position over here. Excuse my dodgy hands shaking the camera about. But Cobra's in an interesting position. But this truck here, oh dear, that's a Stuart. Not what Fuxegg wanted there at all. Interesting position for a Stuart to be in at this point. We've got Legend Sniper there, Vistic. So good stuff from them to get into that position and take out a vital support truck. Also, wow, also, was that another support truck? Or, yeah, troop transport or something. And drawing off these players here and stopping them from being able to counteract the infantry in this area, which, as we mentioned at the start, is so important for them to be able to prevent that. I'll just double check the sound again. Yep, sounds like the sound should be working on the stream, which is excellent. I can see that we are live now. Please say hi in the chat. I obviously have a 15-minute delay, so I can't say hi immediately, but you know, say hi. I'll try and get to it at some point when I see it. Okay then, so they have captured it here now, the Axis, which is excellent, but they're under a lot of pressure. As we can see, the Allies still across this side of the river, which isn't good for the Axis, and the Axis unable, of course, to get their supply truck across the river there. Okay, this is another... That's the recon plane there for the Allies, so presumably highlighting a lot of these areas through here, if I had to guess. And we can see here that they've actually cleared out the point at Siegfried Line, which is big for them. Ivan there, Mr. Bomber, Profex, Murga, all inside the hard cap. So that's putting a lot of pressure on the Axis, and they were capping it briefly for a second there, but the Axis able to hold on to it for now. They're struggling a little bit in this area to kind of cut off this advance, but somewhat ineffective strafing run there from the Allies. But in response to this Allied push into this area with all these smokes and everything, it looks like the SCDB squad over here, nitroglycerin squad, they've been able to kind of spawn in over there and push them back, which is good for them, and also control this area again as well. So let's try and catch up with some tanks. If I try and highlight everybody, we might get a better view. Let me come down here and make sure we've got the highlighting correct. Okay, so you can see now we've got the Axis in green, so our team that we're covering in green, and the others in red here. Now we'll go and have a little look for some tanks. From the Axis perspective, there's really just this one out at the moment, which is out looking for that Stuart. Interesting. Janil over here, all the way back in this area. So perhaps they've got a garrison over here somewhere. That's interesting. But the Tiger kind of trying to push through that area. I believe it's a Tiger, right? Yeah, Tiger trying to push through this area. Who we got there? Shout out to the line guys. Coletto, Greca, Tommy. Trying to clear out those back lines, presumably from the commander's tank marker. Is it a commander tank marker? Oh, it's gone now. But Fucksake got destroyed in that area, didn't he? So Murga, though, still putting pressure for the Allies on this central point with Big L, who we saw play excellently in that game we were discussing before against What the Hell. Doing a good job of defending, and Big L doing a good job of defending previously as well in other games where we've seen him, so shout out there. I'd like to try and see where the Allies have their tanks at the moment. If I had to guess, I would say up on this hill somewhere in this area. I can't see any at the moment. What was that there? Okay, I don't see them at the moment. Okay, so as we can see, like I mentioned the ruin previously, and you can see that it's got this. There's the tank, or is that a vehicle? Okay, yeah, no, that was the transport truck. But as you can see, this is kind of an isolated spot, and if the Axis were able to get into this forest over here where Electro, shout out to you, been on the stream before, but out in the forest where Electro is, and you can actually see that that's what they're trying to do, then they have a good push through into the ruin through this kind of log pile area. They also, though, need to get over into this side, ideally up into these trenches here or at the back, and push through and put pressure on both sides, because the problem, you know, there's pros and cons of the ruin. If you're only defending it from one side, then you've got good sight lines. If you're defending it from both sides, then because on the first person perspective down on the ground, a lot of the time you're hidden by walls, or you're having to like pick a side basically, and if they can split the defenders here, the Axis, then it makes their job a lot easier. Okay, so doing a good job of holding Siegfried Line, it looks like here. They've pushed the Allies all the way back to the river, as we can see by looking at the map. There's only the one infantry marker here, easy, that we can just see in front of us here. But Charlie attack marker is very much down, and Baker Squad actually going all the way around. Supplies now dropping in B column, so that's very aggressive and interesting play there from Fuckseg to drop those supplies early on in the game, speculatively. And I think, having spoken to him briefly after the game last week, that's going to be something that he's going to be focusing on, is using those supply drops to, and you can see actually here as well, to kind of preempt where the garrisons might be needed. Interesting, got the airhead up here and now a garrison place too. See this getting warm underneath us. Maybe that was Vaha who just heated up that garrison there, coming into the rear, but he's just one man at the moment, not a squad leader, so not able to build anything significant, but it looks like they've actually got the marker for a garrison over here. Let's have a little look. Oh, fantastic use of smokes as well here from the Axis. on the attack. Just double checking for you the sound and everything again of the stream. It sounds like it's working, which is excellent. So fantastic use of smokes here, and actually they've kind of whittled down some of the defenders here. And Jesus Christ, who we've also seen play excellently recently in squad line battle especially, is out here basically not solo capping at this point, because it is being capped. So basically on the solo cap, and gets the kill there. I can't see who that is through the... Is that Hennis? It's so hard to see through the wall there. But Kato now the only allied player actually inside the ruin, which is not good for the allies, because as you can see, their vectors of defense now that Ninja Pulver and his squad is around the other side is through this open area that's now being shelled pretty aggressively. So very, very strong play here from the Axis, and soon we're going to see a lot of these attacking players have to probably redeploy, especially these ones over here who are on the speculative attack, because as we've mentioned previously on the stream, they are currently being drawn into an area that is not relevant. So by which I mean this square, this square, this square, and this square are the capping sectors for the ruin, and obviously the same corresponds for Siegfried Line. All these players out here and in this area here are actually not capping anything, right? And so Wolfie's squad doing a good job of pulling the allied squad leaders here, Murga and Joker, and their squads out of position. I mean, they're obviously going to be trying to advance down this side anyway. The one thing that they have to do, and Big L might be aware of this right now, or they might be kind of becoming aware of this, is not go too far wide themselves, the Axis here, and actually make sure to maintain a presence in this area, because as we can see, if Murga or Joker are able to get back down to the river almost and use this lower ground to push up and along, then they could be into a strong position. But the ruin now being absolutely dominates, it looks like, on the on the banners at the top, but the allies are able to get some people up here. Shout out to Scars from Phalanx there, going down, sorry, curse of the commentator, but they are still outside of the point, and it is now captured by the Axis. So all of these allied players, you can see them running back. Ideally they should be redeploying, because they have so far to run that there's no way they can effectively run back to here. The only thing that they could do is basically on the chance that the Axis don't themselves redeploy and consolidate the ruin, and they move too quickly on reserve station. I'm looking at these supplies here. If somebody can get over there, I'm presuming somebody's going to spawn here and try and get over here. Baker squad, Ninja Pulver's built the garrison there. That's going to be his next mission. Whose bombing run is this now? Not a bombing run? My ear's deceiving me there. Ah, okay, so it's an airhead here. This is the allied airhead. Looks like it's coming down in this area, perhaps, which is good play from them, because this is an area that is somewhat under their control. However, obviously you've got these Axis pushing up into this area, and what I was saying before about this core squad, they're going to be trying to catch the Axis as they advance beyond the point here, hoping that they're going to be aggressive, basically, and push out beyond the ruin, and then come into the rear of the point, or like, be able to attack it themselves from this direction. And that looks like what this Phalanx squad is doing as well. But the airhead going down here, probably been spotted at this point. Wow, okay, so getting instantly destroyed. That was a tank that just destroyed that, like before the garrison marker could even appear. This OP now, seeing a fight here. Blue Bear gets one kill, but goes down to Spooky Mayo. Reaping Gase here getting destroyed by a tank across the hill here. The Allies in not such a bad position. They are capping it back at the moment. The Axis need to move these guys in item squad into this sector, and that'll put them in a much better position. The recon plane now going over, as we can see, and the indicator to place the garrison here is already up. It looks like Love Squad, House Squad, Baker, Charlie. How is C, Baker? Come on, mate. They're getting held up in this area of the forest, so they're not able to get around and build that garrison. But what that could mean is that if the Axis are able to get somebody right round north, which it looks like Quicknicks, shout out to you from OC, spoken to Quicknicks quite a bit as well, if they're able to get somebody who is a squad leader around into this area and get especially this garrison here right on the line in the blue built on these supplies, then that takes a lot of the pressure off the ruin. But the defenders of the ruin doing a cracking job here. They've actually taken back the center point here inside the compound and have held off Lost Viking and the rest of this PBS squad. The Phalanx guys here, Electro and Spooky Mayo as well over here, they are struggling a little bit in this area to kind of fight off the flank. They're trying to prevent the flank on reserve station, but in doing so, they've had to kind of give up on attacking the ruin, and that's allowed the Axis to move into the point. So very, very good play here from the Axis, and we can see from this layout of garrisons that they've got that they're, you know, this is a nice triangle going on here. You've got, you know, the triangles going on as well. So really good to see from them. Nice garrison placement, strong formations between these, giving them good kind of routes of attack and defense from lots of different angles. And now, as we see Wolfie up here, shout out to Wolfie from WD44. I think. I don't see his clan tag. Maybe I'm putting my foot in it there. But Wolfie moving up now into the position to build this garrison. Looking for the supplies. It looks like he's right next to them at the moment. Yeah, he looks to be looking for a place to build the garrison right now, and pretty uncontested in this area as well. So that'll be an interesting one to watch as they place the garrison there. Wolfie with the offensive, Gary right on the line. Importantly, in the blue here. So if you place a garrison in the red, I'm sure the you know, veteran players obviously know this, but if you place a garrison in the red sector, which you can do, it goes red and you can't spawn there if there is an enemy player within 100 meters of it. If it's in your blue sector, then the enemy has to be within 10 meters to spawn block it. Okay, bombing run here now from the allies, I presume, out into this forest to try and clear out some of these players here. I guess they put a recon plane and saw them all here, but they're nicely dispersed throughout the forest, and the bombing run's not that effective. On the other hand, the ally infantry is right up close in this log area and pushing through the open plain here. But good kills there. I'm not sure who just shot Krun over here, but that was a good shot to see him through the woods. And Skur goes down as well, so not quite sure who's shooting there, but they do have tank backup now from these guys here. So Don D, Legend Sniper again, as we can see, and that's where their garrison is. It's got marked. They've got another tank coming in here. This is a 76 now, so that's the most powerful tank basically in the game at this point, is coming around into this area to try and secure the forest. They've done a good job of fighting off the Axis in this forest, and it looks like that's going to be what it takes to take it back, but they are now in a cap race because, as we can see, Item has almost managed to get inside reserve station. What the Axis really need to do now is to keep on this defense, really try and hold this into kind of some sort of stalemate here, but it looks like they're not going to make it, and they could be caught way out of position here. It is only Item Squad that's pushed up, but they need to make sure that they have people back at Siegfried Line. We can see that Joker is here ready. He's just waiting right now, and going to try and build a garrison right away. And if we can see like a really snappy redeploy here from the Allies, then this could flip it very quickly into their favour. As we can see though, the ruin is still ever so contested. There's a lot of Axis players there, so if they're not able to get a decent number of their players spawning in, Joker engaged in combat here now and goes down before he's able to build a garrison, I think. Which is very unfortunate. Which is very unfortunate for the Allies. The Tiger now kind of like retreating, as it were, with their gun effectively to the rear, but coming back into the point as kind of a defensive line. We don't see any of the flanking maneuvers at the moment from the Allies. I think they've not quite caught themselves by surprise there, but they're still caught up, as we can see, in trying to defend the ruin now, because look how many Axis players are here. They're trying to flip it again. I think Item Squad is basically just going to wait here on the off chance that they do flip it again and build that garrison again, because of course in the blue it takes 50 supplies. So of the 100 that you can drop from an airhead, because it was in the blue sector, it's only cost them 50. So if this sector goes blue again, they can just build another one on those same supplies, which makes that a very powerful position for Wolfie to hold. Whether or not that will pay off obviously depends on how capable they are of getting the cap. There's kind of a soft cap going on at Siegfried Line right now. As we saw, there's really not too many allied players there, but they do have a few around, and it looks like possibly the tank could be in a little bit of trouble here. Greca and Coletto, Tommy, they've not got satcheled, maybe, but perhaps they've got rocketed here by Kellekind, who goes down himself to maybe Fucksec over there. So commanding from the defensive position here. Greca now out of the tank, probably going for the fix, but could be a problem for them if Demu turns around. He's the only guy in the point, not able to build any spawn points, only a rifleman. So he is causing aggro here, and it's made it be contested, but it's too late. The ruin's been taken again, and as we can see, immediately this garrison goes up here, and this time Big L and Wolfie squad are both there, and already they're taking the point here at Reserve Station. So we could be in for a short one here if they're able to get a good redeploy over and get a lot of people spawning here and really rush Reserve Station, and they can get inside the circle, because we can see from the recon plane they're still so out of position for the defense here, the Allies. They're all out attack really, although my suspicion is, like, if they're not able to defend from those positions, they're unlikely to be able to attack effectively from there too. But it depends how many of these players at the ruin for the Axis do redeploy on those garrisons. But I think probably what they're going to try and do is consolidate, keep a lot of these here, these PKK, Russian squad, SCDB, some good, maybe a grenade just went out there, took out a good few of them, or perhaps it was a shot from one of these tanks out here. Sorry for not being able to see the tanks a little bit better, because it's probably pretty critical. I'm not quite sure where they are at the moment, but the point here, definitely very, very contested here at Reserve Station. Wolfie right in the hard cap here, as you can see, like right below us at Reserve, and they've had to go all the way back here to their far HQ spawn to run all the way over here, and they're trickling in as well. As we can see, it's not a, you know, it's not a whole bunch of allies all arriving at once. It's actually kind of a bit of a trickle, only one or two at a time coming up against Wolfie squad here. So very, very possible for Wolfie squad to be effective at fighting them off, I think. Kaus goes down though to Brother, so that's a big kill for him, allowing them to move into that bunker area. If they can get a garrison down, I'm not sure if they've got supplies there, but J Neil is very, very close. It's going to be ever so tight though. I don't think they're going to be able to get in there in time, but we might see the cap now also on Reserve Station, but so close here to a win for the Axis with an hour left on the clock. It's all over. Absolutely fantastic. Fantastic. Really, 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 really great there. That's my contribution. GG, guys. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, so looking at the scores then, Fucksec Commander absolutely smashed that. We saw those speculative supplies go down. Really, really great stuff. Lovely flanking. Kept a really good front line throughout. Really spread along the river at the start, cutting off those critical areas. We'll have a little look at the scores after I get awarded my 200 XP or whatever I've got. Brilliant stuff, and I'm really excited to talk to Fucksec now, because, you know, as I mentioned before, we spoke after the previous game because he was commander last week as well, and, you know, we ran over a lot of the kind of the strategies that can be very powerful in Hell Let Loose in general, and it's really exciting to see that he's kind of picked up on some of those things that we discussed and really used Ninja Pulver, the DC guys, so fantastic shooters here, as you can see, getting good kills here. But what about that artillery? Who was on the artillery squad? They actually dominated at the start, as we saw Jesus Christ as well and his squad doing a great job throughout. But yeah, the Axis artillery were cleaning out the point right at the start. I mean, we saw those devastating artillery kills, and I think that was kind of the start of a bit of a run of bad luck for Janil and the Allies. But hats off to them too. Sorry I didn't catch more of the tank game. It was a bit difficult to see, and also obviously everything is happening at once. I mean, great stuff there. Let's get the overlay up and get on the call to No Connection. I'm excited to talk to him right now about that, because that was crazy. No Connection.
Hello.
Hello, mate. That
Wow.
was. I think Foxx.
It,
We had a chat,
yeah.
and yeah, it was interesting to see some of the plays. I'm very much looking forward to speaking to these guys after the game. Are they going to
Yeah.
be coming in?
Oh, yeah. They will be coming in very
Awesome.
shortly. I've noticed when I was going through the game that I didn't manage to catch your voice, so which is quite annoying.
Ah,
So I've quickly tried to have a little look. So I'm praying that we can hear you now, and the commanders, because I definitely want to hear what the commanders have got to say about that game.
yeah. I mean, hopefully, like even if people missed it, they can come check out the VOD afterwards. I think I managed to capture it. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
100% sure, but it should be on the VODs at the start. But yeah, if you've got it fixed now, that's awesome. Because like you say, I really want to talk to them. I mean, what did you make of that?
I think the Allies had a good start. They managed to get up into that hill and take over that little barn south of the point. Um, but I think both teams they flanked too much at that beginning.
Interesting.
For me anyway, especially for the Allies, we flanked a bit too much and we weren't too much onto the point. Um, and then I think after that, it just went downhill really.
Yeah, I mean there were a few like really big artillery hits right at the start that really hurt the
Yeah.
Allies a lot as they were moving into Siegfried line up that hill, and I think it was Joker from Core had built a OP just by like the little bunker thing to the west of Siegfried line, like right on the edge of the hard cap, and that literally got shelled on it twice and killed his whole squad. And
Oh, I didn't
that
see
was
that.
like their main attack. That was like the main attack, and that allowed the access to get access to the point there, and which is obviously really vital for them because they're slightly further away at the start. So it does, as we mentioned earlier on the chat, it does slightly favour the Allies in terms of getting to Siegfried Line quicker.
Yes.
But as we said as well, it is an open approach, and they did get absolutely devastated by the artillery.
Yep.
It's interesting to hear you say that they went quite wide. I did suspect at the start that the Allies would go wide because they have that nice approach there through the trenches. But it's interesting to see that the Axis kind of predicted that and kept that front line really
Yes.
strong. But yeah, we're joined now by both the commanders, guys. What
How was that? What a game!
what a game! Um,
Yeah, more than
Congratulations, obviously, to Foxette. Commiserations to is it Janelle or J Neil?
yeah, well done. Yeah, Janelle.
Janelle, yeah. So commiserations to you and your squads there, but great stuff to see from the Axis. So
Yeah,
starting maybe with Foxeg, what do you think? Are you there, Foxeg?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. What do you think kind of went well for you then in that game?
I
Was it
mean,
like as planned?
we marked and communicated together with just forming a general idea of where to go, and assigning roles made it really easy to communicate when we need someone there now, and then immediately someone reacted and went there.
Mm-hmm. Like at the
Which,
end there with the offensive garrison.
yes, we just called out we need an offensive garrison. Someone was on it. Hey, we're losing the point. What do we do? Well, get back on it. And then we realized there weren't that many people on Siegfried. So we just strong armed it back on the ruins.
Yeah, when Ruins got capped there, Wolfie was still out on the flank, just waiting by those supplies because you got that offensive garrison up before, but then lost the sector, but just kind of gambled and left him right there on the supplies. So literally, the second the Ruin got taken for the second time, that garrison was up, and his squad was already halfway into the hard cap at the final point there.
I don't know if you noticed when I dropped those supplies, but those were dropped 10 minutes into the game.
I definitely did notice that. I think that's maybe something that we actually discussed last time.
Yes.
So I was very interested to see that. Congratulations, by the way, on your what the hell status now.
Thank you. Yeah, those obviously a good resource to have in my back. They helped me out with just confusions, what not to do. Definitely made my structure more solid or rigid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good
So-
stuff. And obviously, Janelle, like it didn't work out probably as planned, but there's going to be stuff that your team did right, kind of thing. What for you? What do you think went well?
Yeah, so absolutely. Sort of got to Siegfried quite quickly. We had a couple of issues sort of around the map, certainly recon not getting up to the Arty quick enough. But yeah, no, I guess on the contrary to what you're saying, not a lot went well for us, unfortunately. Certainly had quite a lot of presence from the Axes coming from Scar, which I think yes, I think that sort of took our attention off of the game a little bit.
Yeah, there was a lot of fighting out there in those those sectors that weren't like not the defending sector, not the attacking sector, sort of just out on the flanks, wasn't there?
Yeah, so like I say, I think that caught us off guard a little bit. Certainly, I think people got a little bit tunnel visioned on that battle. Certainly, when we lost Siegfried, trying to get people back to ruins, it was a bit of a difficult ask for us. But
Yeah, I noticed that when you managed to cap that ruins back, which was a nice, good, strong fight, some of your players were going straight towards the next point, even though that you were contesting already. And I was wondering, like, if
yes.
that was your plan or was that the squad leader's plan to try and release some pressure as quickly as possible?
Yeah, so well, initially it was the squad leaders making that beeline, but then I did call for it as well. So a bit of a bad decision on both our behalves in hindsight. But yeah, as you know, trying to alleviate some of that pressure off the ruins, trying to get the defense or trying to get the Axes to sort of refocus their priorities really. But
So would there be anything that you'd do differently on to the next game?
yeah, certainly going into it, a bit of lack of preparation on my behalf, if I'm completely honest.
But I don't know when you guys said to Werner Voss when you'd like to be commander, but from what we saw on the update, it was only about 2, maybe 3 hours before the game. So I think,
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
absolutely.
so credit to yourself. One, for stepping up for both of you to take commander seat, but also it's squad battle. It's quite hard. You don't have much preparation time to talk to your squads. So
That's right. It's not like you can plan out, do like pre-games and practice your strats in squad line battle. You have
Yeah.
to sort of just go in with a like, well, these people are on attack, these people are on defense. We'll try and like keep the communication good, like Fuxek said, and try and respond quickly. But yeah, it was interesting that some of the allied players decided to kind of run back to the ruin. After Siegfried was lost, from the Scar, rather than redeploying. I think maybe that was, partly like the time kind of thing, like that it took them to run back there was maybe a bit of a lost time kind of thing for them, which made them somewhat ineffective at getting back.
Yeah,
But-
no, certainly I'd agree with that. Yeah.
But from you, Fuxek, like, do you think there's anything that could have gone better, or things like didn't go so well, or how you planned?
The first time I spawned in I got the mouse glitch, which made me
Have to
restart
restart
the game.
Yeah, so annoying.
That wasn't going quite according to plan. Stressed me out a bit, but got back in quickly. Most of my cooldowns hadn't reached 0 yet, so
Yeah.
it wasn't much of a hassle.
Yeah.
And
So you get taken out by
I think
Stuart right at the start. And you were driving the supply truck, sort of by the Scar, and the light tank took you out,
I
right?
see a rocket fly like 20 meters in front of me.
You
and
like
then
swerved the truck, like, oh my god, and then the machine gun lit you up.
That was not the most fortunate event, but it gave I think it was King Squad the opportunity they needed and the distraction to get an opening and just punch hard and quickly. So was it worth it? Yes, absolutely. Was it as planned? Absolutely not.
I was to say, because if you're planning for a 5-0 win in that time, there's something wrong with you.
That's you need counselling. That's too aggressive.
Yeah. Janelle, I'd like to ask you, just for myself and maybe for Govnix as well, it's just we want to know a little bit more about you in terms of what's your like status in PBF, if you don't mind me asking. And because I heard you might be a potential upcoming commander, or you might be up in the midst of it.
Clearly
yeah,
not
give
based
us
on
a little
today's
hint.
performance.
Don't worry, I'll delete the vlog. Don't worry.
So I've been with PBS for probably getting on 6 months now. So only had the game for that sort of length of time, maybe a little bit longer. Regular squad position in a sort of defensive squad for our competitive team, shall we call it? Although we're not. So as you know, PBS is a community, not necessarily out there to be competitive. But yeah, regular role. Normally play sort of single shot rifle, so Kar 98 or something like that. But
you're a man after my own heart there.
Yeah, absolutely. Been getting onto the STG and BAR a bit more recently, but had a little break over the past couple of weeks since just before Christmas. But it's a bit of a hurdle to come back in.
Now looking to get in it and go straight into the mix of it.
Still on a little bit of a break at the minute, so just trying to give some other people a bit of a chance. So got quite lucky when I joined PBS. I got pretty much straight into a really good squad. Not really missed any wars or any training up until recently. But stepped down a little bit, but I'll be getting back into it shortly.
Good stuff.
Oh, nice. Well, nice to officially meet you.
Yes, absolutely. And I wouldn't read too much into Squad Line Battle in relation to like competitive, because like we said before, it's not the same thing. It's an awesome thing. It's really it's like a public game, but with people knowing what they're doing and definitely communicating a lot more, kind of thing. But you don't get that opportunity to like plan your strats in the same way. So it's always going to be a bit of a what should we call it nicely, like a bit of a kind of hair-raising experience potentially. A last minute type of thing, and as you've just stepped in like literally within the last hour or something as well, so I'm sure nobody will hold that against you.
No, absolutely. No, thank you very much.
So hopefully we can expect to see you both back as commanders again, I guess.
Yeah, certainly at some point I'll have to consider it.
Yeah, brilliant. And I'm sure Fucksec will be back. I hope so anyway.
Yes, absolutely.
He's on a roll now, taking out House.
Well,
who's next? Heidi?
Well, I don't want to get too overconfident and blow the horn too hard, but yes, it would be nice to see the streak continue, although carefully moving forward.
Very, very carefully. Treading stones.
Yes, indeed. Tiny steps. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, well, it's good to see. And do you think, do you think you kind of learned stuff from last week's game and were able to implement that today?
Yes, absolutely.
I saw you using the smokes and stuff from the artillery, which we saw last week on Semeracles, was used so effectively.
Huge amount of smoke.
We covered up the airhead with smoke, among others. May not have. But yeah, we used smoke throughout the game, just effectively as we could. We realized how good smoke is to use as maneuverable cover.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, at one point, I think, like the ruin, we practically couldn't see it from the sky. It was just like a cloud of smoke. We knew it was there, but like we couldn't actually see it. And of course, like you mentioned before as well, placing those supplies like really early on, that was interesting to see. And also actually using that real width that you've got as the axis there, those trenches and everything. And as Janil said, like sort of catching out the axis advance really nice and wide and keeping them in non, the sector where they're not actually capping the point for quite a long time. That seemed to be quite effective as well.
Yeah, I think if I would take one thing away from today as really groundbreaking, it's asking if they're ready, just not forcing them to move when they don't feel like it's the best move to make, even though from my eyes it looks good. With placing that airhead, asking, "Are you guys ready?"
Mm-hmm.
Made a
Just
huge
making
difference
sure,
for
yeah.
airhead. Like everyone is ready when it goes off, so we get that instant action.
Yeah,
you had the airhead at the bottom. Well, I say bottom left of the map, as far bottom as you
Yeah.
could go, and you had was it PKKA and of the Phoenix jump onto that, and it was a big push from you.
Uh,
I think it was a
yes, it
lot
was
of
a big push.
PKA.
I don't recall the names,
Yeah, that's fine.
sadly.
But
yeah, we can do that. We can shout out our man of the match. From your perspective, who played really well? No connection for the Allies.
From what I saw, it was hard because it was just a short game and there was a lot of happening. So it was over here, over there. But I will give it to Scooter purely because I saw one part of him where he was pushing on to an Allies player at the ruin, and they both ran out of bullets, and they were chasing each other, trying to stab each other, and Scooter come down on top. So, for that little clip there, I have to give it to Scooter.
Hats off.
It was lovely.
Brilliant. That's really
you?
funny. Well, I think in some ways, probably there was a tank squad from the line who I think I saw play really, really, really well. But also probably shout out to Big L as well from STDB, like doing some great defending and then having the foresight to jump on that attacking garrison right at the end and give the backup to Wolfie, who also deserves a shout out for having the having the patience to wait there for the ruin to get caps the second time, and it literally built the garrison. I don't know, like honestly, the instant it capped, I think he was like watching the thing tick down, and like he knows maybe like it takes 3 seconds to build a garrison, and it takes like 4 seconds for this thing to like tick down, and he built that garrison. Honestly, the second it changed, but as he did so, Big L also spawned in, so they had the 2 squads this time pushing into that final point, and I think that's what clinched it for them. So really good stuff. So before we go, we've asked Fucksec before. Oh, by the way, Fucksec, next time, when you come on, you be commander, continue the streak by all means. But can we have a bit of a longer game next time? Yeah, because we only play once a week, all right. So give people a chance, all right. So, but we've heard from Fucksec already, but obviously the spring seasonal is coming up. So Janil, do you have any kind of picks for who you think might be successful, or teams you want to watch out for in the seasonal, or is it not something that you're up to speed with yet?
Yeah, probably not up to speed, but yeah, certainly playing against 82 AD. They've evolved into another clan now. Yeah, like I said, it's been a couple of months since I've been really into it, but yeah, obviously WTH certainly.
Is that who you're thinking of that's going to win?
Yeah, my money would be probably with WTH, to be honest. But like I say, I've been out of it for a while. So
Frank's gonna kill you. Oh, PBS aren't in it. That PBS aren't in it. That's all right. You have an unbiased viewpoint, so you're allowed to say whatever you like, I guess.
Fuck's sake, we can't ask you.
No, he's under strict orders now that only say what the hell, obviously.
But yeah, I think that was a great game. Now, certainly looking forward to the seasonal. But yeah, a nice nice quick game, but it was nice to see what we saw. You know, I think both commanders have got great areas to improve on, and also what actually did go pretty well for themselves. So I think both to you, thank you very much.
Yeah, hats off, credit for stepping in as well at the last minute, and of course to anybody else that wants to step in next time. Try and take on Fucksec if he's playing next week. So if you think you're hard enough, we look forward to seeing you try.
But yeah, thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, thanks very much, and GG to both teams.
Yeah, well done to Fucksec.
Yeah, thank you too. It was great playing against you. It really was.
All right then, guys. Catch you soon then.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Cheers.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
See ya. Okay. Great stuff there. What a quick game. My goodness. Looking at the map again, I mean, like this area in the Scar, like we saw as we were talking about there at the end with the commanders, like the control of this area is so important throughout the game. And then the flanking maneuvers, as we discussed at the start, on the ruin, and then of course this garrison here by reserve station. You probably can't see my mouse actually thinking about it, but like the garrison above reserve station was very, very important, and those trenches by the Scar and surrounding the ruin, and use of the smokes on the ruin as well. Communication playing a big theme here, clearly. The allies unable to respond quick enough and get back once Siegfried was lost, get back to the ruin, having to run all that way, several hundred meters across the river, up the hill, etc., to get into the sector to be defending. But the Axis able to get the redeploys really effectively, and at the end there for the win. So really interesting game today, if a little bit quick. But Fucksec, the reigning champion now of Squad Line Battle Server 2. So look forward to seeing him again, and obviously seeing challenges arise. Thanks again to everybody who's watched today, and thanks of course to Werner Voss and Dragster for arranging Squad Line Battle, and anybody else who's involved in the organisation of it. Squad Line Battle, a fantastic opportunity for everyone to apply to be whatever you like. You can play commander, you can play tanks, you can play recon squad. The only rule is that you have to, if you're playing a squad, you have to like bring your own squad. It doesn't have to be a clan, it can just be a group of friends, and obviously you have to like communicate and everything, because it's basically a public game where everybody kind of knows what they're doing, and is really like committed to kind of communicating well. Although, as we all know from playing public Hell Let Loose, people generally communicate fairly well. Anyway, we're not playing Battlefield here. This is a different level of game altogether. So obviously there's like the standard level of communication where all these players have started from, because every single person here has just started from playing publics, but they've all kind of either joined clans or joined things like Squad Line Battle to make sure that they get that communication. So if you want to play next week or any time in the future, it's on every Tuesday. Join the Discord, just search it on whatever search engine, join the Discord, come just volunteer yourself basically. You can, I think probably the application's open tomorrow. It's a community vote what map gets played next, and yeah, come along, have fun, be whatever you want to be, whatever position. Test your mettle against reigning champion Fucksec. So thanks again to Squad Line Battle, Werner Voss, Dragster. Thanks again to No Connection, of course, the two commanders Fucksec and Janil for coming on the stream today. Really good to see. And thanks to you all for watching as well. So I've been Garthnix, and this has been Squad Line Battle, and I'll catch you next week. Thanks, guys. See you soon.